Alrighty, so here's a couple of tips on how I think you can kind of make the backtesting process as effective as possible in the most efficient and painless way. So first, we're just going to talk about kind of the general backtesting approach, and then I'm going to show you how to enter the data in the spreadsheet in the quickest way, because I'm seeing some of you do it a little bit just in a slow way, which is going to be painful in the long run. Okay, so the first thing I kind of want to just say is, if you are beginner or experienced, now that doesn't mean with trading in general, but just like, let's say with this particular strategy. So if you have no experience with this strategy before, or even just the entry model, again, these are recommendations. You don't have to treat this as gospel, right? Take whatever makes sense to you. But my recommendation would be, for your first round of testing, don't use bar replay. Have all of the price action shown in front of you. Use the benefit of hindsight. Right, so just map on all of your structure on your medium time frame and maybe your higher time frame as well. Draw on the POIs, and then just take 1 month at a time. Let's say you're starting, I don't know, the start of January or whatever year you're looking at. Okay, just go from the start of that month, map on all of your structure, map on all of your POIs, and then just go through like on the first trading day of that month. Wait till price gets to the POI, then like just look down on the lower time frame and look, was there an entry there? I like to do that by using split screen layout. Okay, so I've got like 3 or 4 charts showing at once of the different time frames. I don't use bar replay. I line them all up, so they're all looking at obviously the same time period. Let's say January 1st of 2023. I have all of my time frames lined up showing there, and then I just look at my lower time frame, at the area at which it hits the medium time frame POI, and I just mark on if there are any entries or not. Right, really easy, really enjoyable. You're just trying to quickly visually see, do I understand the rules? Is the strategy, does it even appear to be working? Do I get it? Right? And you can just start marking and annotating every single valid trade, okay? If you are a bit more experienced, you might want to do this step straight away, but even if you are experienced, I'd recommend just doing that first step. That's what I do for my round 1 of testing. I don't want to waste my time with bar replay. I want to see, does this actually work, right? Get it done quickly, have it all drawn on. It's a lot easier, okay? When you're more experienced, you kind of want to almost test your skill at like spotting it more like a simulated environment, yes, then use bar replay or like things like FX replay, okay? But I'd recommend a lot of you just use the benefit of hindsight for your initial rounds of testing. Okay, that's kind of out of the way. That's kind of the first layer. The second thing I would say is, when you're actually doing your backtesting and you want to collect your data, my recommendation is kind of how I approach it, is to do 1 month at a time, especially if you're on like the lower time frames. Never backtest more than 1 month in a day, and do that month the whole way through without inputting the data into Excel or Google Sheets, okay? I just find it can get a little bit tedious that way. Again, just my recommendation. So go through, let's say January, you go through whether you're using bar replay or not, you draw on your risk to reward tool, you do your annotations, whatever it is you want to do, and you get to the end of the month, okay? Quality over quantity, take your time with it. Once you have then done that, then go and enter the data, okay? So enter all of the trades into Excel or Google Sheets or whatever you're using for that month. Okay, now don't just enter the data. You need to then spend time, like zoom out on TradingView, look back through and visually review all of the price action, okay? Because the stats in your spreadsheet will not tell you the truth, okay? The stats can lie. Not every phase A is the same. Not every trade is the same. There's going to be lots of things that you need to visually see, like what is going on here? Like what's the type of market environment? Was it really, really impulsive and I was trying to force it? All these things you need to be reviewing and looking at. Okay, so it's really key that you do that. Also, you will make mistakes. You will miss valid trades. You will take invalid trades. You will make mistakes. It's a guarantee, you're human. So you want to be reviewing and visually looking for that. Starting to think about, why did I take a lot of losses this month? Maybe all the trades were valid, but actually it was a very, very impulsive month where it trended in one direction and I got caught out on a lot of counter trend moves, right? Doesn't mean you need to change your rules, but they're just things you want to be making notes of, okay? And then, yeah, like once you've done that and you've, say, reviewed all of January, you've done all of this in depth, you've taken your time. It is not a race to go, right, I want to get funded, I'm going to do this. What do I need to do? Okay, I need to backtest a year. I'm going to try and backtest 12 months of price action, in the next 4 weeks. And then I'll be smashing it. Then I'll know everything inside out and then I'll get funded and I'll make loads of money. And then, I can tell them, like, get all that out of your head, take your time, quality over quantity, right? A lot of you are going to be making mistakes and that's fine. This is why you need to take it slow, to notice those mistakes, but two, to make sure you are learning the lessons that section of price action is going to teach you about more than just the initial rules and strategy. You need to learn about all of the complex things, okay? That's my recommended process. Let me now give you a quick tip on how to enter the data as well, okay? So think I got a trade down here. Yeah. So this is the trade, right? Let's say you've taken it, you know it meets all the rules or whatever, and you want to enter the trade. So first thing is the basic things. You know it's euro dollar. You know it's, if you look at the bottom, if you put your cursor on the candle and look at the bottom down here, right? You can see the date. So it's 10th of November 2023, 9:35 was the entry, right? Because this is the candle you're going to get triggered in. So hopefully you guys should know how to kind of enter the basic data. I think you guys will get it right. Date, time, pick what session it was, pick the pair, pick the strategy name. You should know how to, well, it's down to you to define the probability for you. Bit of discretion here. Everyone's going to be a bit individual. The phases, you guys should know how to do that from the MTF phases cheat sheet. Put in the news if there was like, so if you have see these news events, you can turn these on if you go to settings, go to events, and then click economic events and charts, okay? And then untick this because you want past events to be showing when you're backtesting, okay? And then let's say, like, so this will be bang on 12:30, that's why it's there, and you can click on it and you can see there was a speech there. So if that was like around here, like that speech was there bang on my entry, I would put that into the spreadsheet and I would be like, you know, ECB speech or whatever. Or if it was a bit later, like whilst I'm holding the trade, then I would put it into the management news. I just put, you know, Lagarde ECB speech or whatever. Okay, I think you guys will get that. This is the bit where I think I can help you with a little bit of a tip here. So entry candle size, what does that mean? The candle that you are not entering on, because obviously you get tagged on the 9:35 candle, but the entry candle is the one in which we size our position based on, and that is this candle here. Okay, so obviously we get the initial liquidation here, so you'd be entering on that candle, but then we break lower, so we cancel our order. Once this candle finishes printing, it's still within our POI, right? So we put our buy stop above that candle and our stop loss somewhere behind it to protect it. So this is what I mean by the entry candle. It's that actual candle here, okay? So we want to know the size of it. How do you do that? The quickest way to do this, I'm seeing all sorts of inefficient ways, is you hold down the shift key first. I'll show you over here. Hold down shift, and then if you click, this is what should happen, right? So just click once, let go of your mouse. Okay, now if you move your mouse around, you don't need to hold down the mouse or anything. It will have this on, right? You have to hold down shift, and this is called the measure tool, okay? So what that does is it allows you, if you go down, it will just, you see the numbers, 3.7, 3.8, 4. That is 4 pips. You need to divide it by 10. Actually, if you look at the right-hand side of that red box, you see where it says minus 4.0. That is 4 pips, right? We've gone down 4 pips, or we've gone up 2.8 pips, right? And also, if you go to the right, it gives you the time as well, right? So that's 1 hour and 30 minutes worth of price action. But we just care about the size. So this is how you measure the candle super quickly. Put your mouse just a little bit above it, hold down shift, click once, let go of your mouse, and then drag it down to the bottom of the candle, and there we go. And if you look on the right-hand side, you see where it says minus 3.9. All that now tells us is the candle is 3.9 pips big, okay? You can let go, click away, the tool will go away, go into your spreadsheet, 3.9. So you can literally record that in about half a second, okay? So I just go on, okay, that's the candle entered on, shift, click, move my mouse down, 3.9, click twice away to get rid of it, enter that in. Super quick, okay? Now, a little tip as well is I like to have magnet mode on permanently. So if that is on, and when you click near it, see how it's like snapped, I'm moving my mouse away, but you see how it's measuring it from the top of the candle. You want it to be accurate. The magnet tool will snap it on, and then when I go down, even if I have my mouse down, you know, a little bit further, I see how it snaps onto the bottom. That's why it's nice to have the magnet mode on. Some of you, for whatever reason, I don't know, don't like to have the magnet mode on permanently. So if you want to have it on quickly for measuring the candle, a little tip is if you hold down, if you look at the magnet here, right? I'm now going to press Command or Control. Wait, if I do here, see it's now flashing. That's when I'm pressing Command and Control. It temporarily snaps it on and off. Okay. So if you don't have magnet mode on all the time and you want to have it on, you can click Control and Shift at the same time, and it will help you like toggle it on and off. Okay. So a little tip there. But yeah, in essence, just hold down Shift, click, and you can measure that candle super quickly. There you go, 3.9 pips. Enter it. Okay. That one's reasonably simple. This is the one there's some confusion on. So MAE, what does that stand for? Maximum Adverse Excursion. It's just a bit of an unnecessary fancy way of saying how far price goes against you whilst you're in a position. Now, we only care about this for the spreadsheet from behind the candle because we want to look, once you've entered the trade, right? So let me bring price action back. Okay, because in the live market, right, you're going to be sizing up your position like this. Okay, now what we want to know is if we get tagged in, okay, and then let's say price comes down like this behind the candle, and then it goes in our favor, we want to know over a large sample size of trades, on average, kind of what distance does price go behind that entry candle, so we know what the most optimal stop loss placement is. Because if we go too tight, we might find that actually we're in a lot of what should be winning trades, but we're only just getting stopped out by like a pip or half a pip or whatever it is. So therefore, over a large sample size of trades, we know we need like a 2-pip buffer behind the entry candle. So that's why what we want to record is from the low of the candle, right, that red line, this distance, how far does price go before it goes in our favor, because then we can work out what the most optimal buffer is. This is the buffer zone behind the entry candle. From low to here, how big of a buffer do we need on average to have good results? So what you would do is if price action did go down this distance, you use the measure tool again. So you hold down shift, click the bottom of that candle, okay, and then you just drag it down to the lowest point that price goes. So imagine price went to the bottom of this red line. What would that be? That would be minus 1.4 pips. Okay, that is what the stop loss buffer is. So you would go in the spreadsheet 1.4. Okay, you don't put the minus in, you just put in 1.4. Okay, whoops, wrong one. MA stop loss buffer. Okay, here. Now the third bit is the opposite of that, which is maximum. So if you hover your mouse as well, you get some tips here. Okay, actually, let me talk about this. There's one other element of it. Okay, so there's only one of three things that can happen with this sell. The first thing is what actually happened in this trade, which is price just tagged us in and it just went in our favor. That's obviously ideal. So if that happens, what do you put in that sell? Well, get rid of this red line. Price never went behind our entry candle. So there never was a maximum adverse excursion for our stop loss buffer. Therefore, you would put 0, right? Because price moves 0 pips behind your entry candle. Now, if it did go a little bit behind it, let's just say 1.4 pips, then we put in 1.4. Now, what happens, this is the third scenario that can happen. Imagine you just get tagged in the trade by a little bit, right? Like, you know, whatever, and then price just does this. Or it does like, hang on, it's frozen. Or let's say, let's get rid of the red line. You know, it kind of goes like, it doesn't go miles away, but maybe it goes like down here and then it goes up. If you know that you're never going to have your stop loss that big, right? Then this is just a losing trade no matter what, right? So if that happens, then you put in a hyphen. So it's just that dashed line like that. That's what you do, okay? So one of three things that happen. Either it never goes against you, you just put in 0, happy days. It goes against you a little bit, and you know, yeah, I'd probably be happy to have a 1.4 pip stop, maybe 2 pips, maybe 3 pips. But if it's, then you put that in. But if it's like, you know, it went miles against you and you're never going to stay in that trade, then it's key. You just put this, just put in a hyphen, okay? I've put this in the notes here if you hover your mouse above, and that should help you. Okay, so one of three things can happen. Let's say 0, because that's actually what happened. This then is just how many pips did price go in your favor. Okay, so let's play this forward a little bit. Right, and then let's just say, imagine that's as far as the trade ever went, and then like price action went against us. So you know, okay, you want to know basically what is this distance from being tagged in to the top of the move. Like if you could just had a crystal ball and you knew exactly how far price was going to go, so you could exit at the highest point. What is that distance? How do you measure it quickly? Measure tool again. Hold down shift. Click where you entered the trade, which is obviously on the top of that candle. Drag your mouse up to the top, and there you go, 20.7 pips. Okay, and that's what you put in there. Now, a valid question I get is, well, what happens when price just, and this will give you our trade. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, the question I get is, well, what do you do if price just trends and trends and trends for months in your favor? Well, that's fine, and that's why actually, if we look back here, my tip one is, especially when you're first backtesting, like just do the whole month. So this one here, backtest 1 month without data entry. Because then what you can do, unless of course this trade was like right at the end of the month, is when you're going to enter these trades and you're putting your MFE in, you've already played out all the price action. So you can quickly see, okay, yeah, maybe for a week or two, like, you know, price action went, but then you can see, okay, then eventually we had like the next daily leg. And what you can do then is just zoom out, click shift, drag it up to here, and there you go. There's 45 pips, and you can put that in there. Now, some of you might want to be a bit more accurate, and you might know, well, in the live market, I'm never going to hold a trade past the weekend. If that is the case, then just look for where Friday was. Let's say Friday was here, and you'll just go, right, that's actually where my true MFE is, because I'm never going to have held the trade past there. So there we go, 35.7, and that's what you would put in. Okay, so that's how you use those 3 cells. When I'm input my data, this takes about 10 seconds. Okay, so I look at this trade, and I'll be like, right, entry candle size, hold down shift bottom, there's 3.9. It didn't go against me, so 0 pips for stop loss buffer, and let's say it went, hold down shift, there, 43.4. Okay, so I go 3.9, it never went against me, 0, and then 33.4, whatever the number is. And then it will calculate this for you. Now, some of you are then asking me, you go, well, on TradingView, my stop loss was like this big and my risk reward was here, so it should be 4.85. Why am I not getting that? And it's because you need to remember that we have included what the stop loss buffer is going to be for all of your trades, okay? So if your entry candle size is 3.9, right, and your stop loss buffer is 2, what does that mean your total stop loss size is going to be? It's going to be your buffer plus the candle size, right? It's going to be the buffer, the distance behind this candle that you've given. This is your buffer. So let's say use 2 pips plus, plus the size of the candle, right? So 3.9 and then add an extra 2 pips. So that would be where your true stop loss is. That's going to be your true stop loss size. So it's going to be a bit bigger than what you think. And then that would be your 3.3 or whatever you're doing. Okay. So, remember your entry candle size plus the stop loss buffer you put in here. So that'd be 5.9 then in total. That's going to be your total stop loss size. So then how far does price go in your favor? It goes 20.7 pips in your favor. So you divide your rewards, 20.7 pips, by your risk, which is going to be entry candle size plus your stop loss buffer, so 5.9. And that's what gives you this figure here. Okay, so 3.5 will be 20.7 divided by 5.9. And that gives you the maximum risk reward you could have got if you exited perfectly. But this will give you your true result based on what fixed target you've put in. Okay, so hopefully that can make it a lot more efficient for you to put these 3 numbers in. It can be super quick. Use the measure tool, okay? It used to be over here somewhere. I don't know where they've hidden it now. But if you just hold shift and click, there you go. Very, very useful tool. Hopefully those little tips help you to make the backtesting process a little bit less painful.